Going into episode 8, one of the ideas that I was interested in the most was the potential for a new path to emerge regarding Jedi philosophy, pioneered by Luke with the help of Rey on Act 2, the home of the first Jedi Temple. The basis for this interest was in the fact that at the time, it appeared that Luke experienced something very similar to the Jedi Order of Yoda decades earlier, namely, the destruction of their Jedi Orders by the forces of the dark side ignited by the fall of one of their own. Therefore, a new philosophy and approach to the Force naturally seemed necessary. But there were also aspects within the lore, both canon and legends, that suggested that Luke might be on a path to discovering the power of balance in the Force, an approach that changed the course of the Jedi Order in training beings who weren't mere warriors of the light and who intervened in galactic events with good intentions, but undoubtedly motivated by keeping the dark at bay. The Journal of the Whills in canon was an important catalyst for the idea. It's presented as a type of ancient record connected to galactic events, and the entry provided at the beginning of the Episode 7 novelization seems to predict that the saga was going to resolve the differences between the light and dark sides through a gray approach adopted by the Jedi, meaning a balanced approach that accepted both the light and dark as valid components to a greater whole, to a greater force. There was also, of course, Luke suggesting that he was going to end the Jedi Order and explicitly explaining balance to Rey in the Episode 8 trailer. And the Guardians of the Whills novel contained a number of ancient writings that suggested the importance of accepting both the light and dark sides of the Force. Rejecting the truth that the Force was comprised of two components, so it seemed, was to the user's own peril. Taken together, we seemed well on our way to revealing a significant understanding discovered by Luke, one that would rebut the negative aspects of the dogmatic Jedi Order defined by Plagueis and Sidious so well in the Legends Darth Plagueis novel. Unfortunately, this didn't come to pass in the film, or at least not in the way that I was hoping it would. We did get the Prime Jedi, the first member of the Jedi Order depicted in a mosaic within the Ahch-To Jedi Temple, in a state of serene coexistence and peace with both the light and dark sides of the Force, as well as some lore in the accompanying guides connecting the planet Ahch-To itself to the concept of balance. But it didn't feel like we were any closer to fulfilling the poem within the Journal of the Whills, a greater truth discovered through a balanced approach to the Force. Fortunately, the recently released The Secrets of the Jedi reference book again brings us into the realm of balance, and what I would suggest is the clearest depiction of the concept as understood within canon, and more importantly, within the sequel trilogy. Secrets of the Jedi is presented through the perspective of Luke, containing writings and information discovered through a lifetime of study on the part of the Jedi Master. What I want to do is first present what Luke concluded about balance in the Force as a type of approach separate and distinct from the Jedi path with the light and the Sith path with the dark side, and then introduce some brief explanations for how this could be important for Episode 9. In regard to the latter, it's possible the films just aren't concerned with the Force on this level, as I learned the hard way in Episode 8, but I'm confident that if there is a place for it, Episode 9 makes the most sense. The important section within Secrets of the Jedi starts with Luke introducing the concept of the Force generally, explaining its mysterious nature as a power that didn't merely belong solely to the Jedi, as it was found within everyone and everything, echoing what he said in Episode 8. And it was a power that could be used for good and evil, depending upon which alignment those who were Force-sensitive chose. Luke then described each side of the Force individually. In a rather simplistic way, the light side is presented as a Force alignment which, while certainly not perfect in Luke's eyes, was devoted to the greater good underpinned by selfless action and the promotion of harmony. The dark side alignment, on the other hand, was defined by a desire for personal gain, where the ultimate goal was the achievement of power. In this way, those aligned with the dark side used their fear, rage, and hatred to aggressively attempt to control others. Again, there isn't too much here that would be outside of an understanding of those Jedi who came before Luke. However, this is where it gets really interesting. Luke also described a third way a Force user could act and approach the Force that was different from the previous traditional light and dark side alignments. Luke referred to this as balance in the Force, and he was clear that if one wanted to use the Force properly, it was necessary to find balance between the light and dark. The Prime Jedi is important in all of this, as an image of the Prime Jedi accompanies this section, demonstrating the importance of Act 2 and the First Jedi Temple in Luke's understanding of the Force. Luke used the example of the Jedi younglings to better describe what balance means. Because Jedi younglings were not yet trained in the ways of either the light or dark side alignments, they were able to tap into the Force with no alignment, allowing the Force to flow through them in what Luke referred to as the Force's purest form. Luke ended by noting that acting without any particular force alignment, whether it be light or dark, was a concept that could have significant value for the galaxy. Because Luke was a historian of Jedi lore and witnessed the constant struggles between the light and dark within his own life, he saw that the innate neutrality provided through balance could provide valuable lessons in how a Jedi could seek to remedy this continued cycle of destruction that a focus solely on alignment within the light or dark caused. This goes back to the idea that the brighter the light, the larger the shadow, which is to say, the deeper a Jedi attempts to focus upon and seek solace within the light side, the more they naturally invite the dark side to grow in tandem with it. Or as Snoke simply put it, darkness rises and light to meet it. The two traditional alignments of the Jedi and Sith are naturally prone towards a self-reinforcing cycle. So long as there are Jedi outside of balance, they invite darkness and chaos to grow, with the opposite being true of the Sith and dark side. It's why darkness wasn't extinguished during the era dominated by the Republic and Jedi Order, and why the light wasn't extinguished within the era dominated by the Empire and Sith Order. But Luke's conceptualization of balance here, which again I think is one of the best we have for the idea so far, provides three elements that I've wanted to see for the topic since episode 8. First, balance is a third option, outside of the light and dark dichotomy. Second, balance is presented as a type of first, introductory alignment that exists without any kind of teachings by the Jedi or Sith. And third, it's presented by Luke as a potential resolution to the constant struggle that engulfed the galaxy during the era of the films, the era of the Skywalkers, which was the struggle between the light and dark. Here, Luke is almost perfectly predicting the idea presented within the Journal of the Whills, that the struggle between the light and dark sides will be resolved by refined Jedi sight in the form of a gray or balanced approach to the Force. I hope to expand on this idea as episode 9 approaches, but one of the questions that I hope the final film in the Skywalker saga answers is just how the Jedi Order can proceed without being the authors of their own demise. That is, by following a philosophy that naturally invites the dark side to grow and challenge them. In Legends, the cycle of the Sith rising to challenge the Jedi was perpetual, and by the era of Darth Bane culminating with Plagueis and Sidious, the Sith were able to fashion the Rule of Two to perfectly weaponize the Jedi Order's own hubris and adherence to the light against them. Just to be sure, it wouldn't be resolution within the galaxy for eternity, just the present era, which would give the story of the Skywalkers a continued lasting purpose. But even though we don't yet have a complete history of the war between the Jedi and Sith in canon, it wasn't lost on Luke that the struggles between the light and dark were the cause of the most painful events in galactic history. As we've seen here, Luke references this struggle in the Secrets of the Jedi reference book. But it's not the only place within the current canon lore where this struggle has been recognized by the Jedi Master with the goal of attempting to solve the problem. Within the Episode 8 The Last Jedi visual dictionary, on the same page that depicts the Prime Jedi and explains how this first Jedi was in a state of meditation and balance, it states, Skywalker's studies revealed the cyclical nature of the struggle between the light and dark, and the massive toll the galaxy pays with each cycle. Even Lor San Tekka, the explorer who helped Luke find Jedi lore after Episode 6, and therefore was an important part of these studies, recognized the endless cycle Luke did, despite his lack of force sensitivity. As seen within the Poe Dameron comic, Lor San Tekka explained that the Force was like a sea, in the sense that it had tides. At times, the Force would recede and almost disappear from influencing the galaxy, while at other times, it rushed forward to shape galactic events. But even Lor San Tekka realized that the periods where the galaxy was reshaped the most were those where the light and dark battled for power, as it was doing once again in the final months of his life. All of this remains one of my favorite aspects of Star Wars, so to see Luke again turn to the value within the concept of balance in the Force and even define it is great. The strength in balance is its ability to bring resolution to the competing struggle of the light and dark sides, and it appears Luke recognized this more and more after his interaction with Rey in Episode 8. I would love to expand on these Force aspects within a video that looks at what Anakin and Luke's role could be within Episode 9, but in case I'm not able to get to it before the film's released, I wanted to at least introduce the idea here, even if briefly. So there we have it, Luke's thoughts on balance and why it's potentially important for Episode 9. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... for meeting again at last.